Something in you has gone dry. Not catastrophically, not in crisis. The quieter version. The morning when the things that used to produce energy no longer quite produce it. The project that used to matter meeting with a flatness that was not there before. The person who used to feel genuinely alive inside the work, the relationship, the creative practice, and who finds now that the feeling has receded without explanation. Not depression, exactly. Not burnout, exactly. The specific, quiet, hard-to-name experience of the person whose vitality has thinned. Hildegard of Bingen, the 12th century Benedictine abbess, visionary, composer, medical writer, and theologian, had a word for what has thinned. She called it Viriditas, greenness, the greening force. The specific, living, animating vitality that she understood as the primary sign of divine life in the created world, and whose absence she understood as the deepest form of human suffering. And she had a theology of where it goes when it goes, and how it returns. The modern vocabulary for the experience of depleted vitality is primarily clinical. Burnout has diagnostic criteria. Depression has diagnostic criteria. Adrenal fatigue, cortisol dysregulation, nervous system dysregulation. The medical vocabulary is extensive and often genuinely useful. What it does not have is a theology. It does not ask where vitality comes from in the first place. It treats the depletion as a malfunction of a biological system rather than as the symptom of a disconnection from the source. Hildegard asked the prior question. Her medical writings, the Physica and the Causae et Curae, are the most systematic medieval texts on the relationship between the human body and the natural world. But they are not secular medical texts. They are grounded in a cosmological understanding in which the health of the body and the health of the soul are inseparable, and both are expressions of the same fundamental vitality, viridis, that flows from God through the whole of creation. The green of the plant, the warmth of the body, the creative energy of the artist, the spiritual ardor of the mystic, the sexual vitality of the healthy person, the capacity for work, for love, for genuine presence in the world. For Hildegard, all of these are expressions of the same thing, the greening force that is God's life in created form. When viridis is present, the person and the plant and the community flourish. When it is absent, when the dryness comes, when the creative energy thins, when the warmth has receded, the symptom is not primarily biological, it is spiritual. Something has interrupted the flow between the source and the vessel.
We have visited Hildegard in earlier episodes on the body and on music. What those episodes did not fully explore is the concept that underlies both, the single idea around which her entire intellectual project is organized. Hildegard was born in 1098 in Bermersheim, near Alzey, in what is now Germany. She was the 10th child of a noble family and was offered as a tithe to the church at 8 years old, enclosed with an anchoress named Jutta at the Benedictine monastery at Disibodenberg. When Jutta died in 1336, Hildegard became the magistra, the leader of the small community of women that had formed around Jutta's cell. She had been having visions since childhood. At 42, she received what she described as a divine command to write them down, and she spent the next decade producing the Scivias, the first of her 3 major visionary works, with the explicit approval of Bernard of Clairvaux and Pope Eugenius III. She founded her own monastery at Rupertsberg near Bingen. She corresponded with popes, emperors, and the leading intellectual figures of her century. She composed the most extensive body of music by any known medieval composer. She wrote medical and natural history texts. She preached, publicly, to mixed audiences, which was essentially unprecedented for a woman in her era. She died in 1719 at approximately 81, having spent her final months in conflict with the church over the burial of a young man in her monastery's grounds. She fought the church until they capitulated. Then she died. Viriditas runs through everything she produced, the visions, the music, the medicine, the letters. It is not one concept among others in her work. It is the organizing principle. The word she uses more than any other to describe both the health of the created world and the health of the soul. The philosophy of Viriditas, what Hildegard means by it, and why it matters. Viriditas is from the Latin viridas, green, fresh, living. In Hildegard's usage, it carries multiple meanings simultaneously. It is the literal greenness of plants, the biological vitality that makes the plant grow. It is the metaphorical greenness of the soul, the spiritual freshness and ardor that characterizes the person who is in genuine relationship with the divine. It is the creative vitality of the artist, the erotic vitality of the body, the moral vitality of the person who acts from genuine care rather than duty alone. All of these, for Hildegard, are the same force in different expressions. Viriditas is God's life flowing through creation. Every living thing is a channel for it. Every creative act draws on it. Every genuine relationship expresses it. And every form of dryness, spiritual, creative, physical, moral, is a symptom of its interruption. This is theologically radical in a way that can be missed if you read her too quickly. Hildegard is not saying that spiritual vitality is like biological vitality as a metaphor. She is saying they are the same thing, expressed at different levels of the same created order. The plant that grows toward the light and the mystic who turns toward God are both responding to the same force. The body that is well and warm and alive, and the soul that is ardent and creative and present, are not different kinds of health. They are the same health, the same vitality, flowing through the same being. The practical implication is striking. If Viriditas flows through the body as well as the soul, then the tending of the body is not separate from the tending of the spirit. The food you eat, the air you breathe, the quality of your sleep, the beauty you allow into your sensory life, these are not secular matters that have nothing to do with the life of the soul. They are the channels through which Viriditas flows or fails to flow. The person who neglects the body's vitality is not only harming the body, they are narrowing the channel through which the greening force moves through them. And the reverse is equally true. The person who is spiritually dry, who has lost contact with the source, who has been living from duty or habit or fear, rather than from genuine creative ardor, will find the dryness expressing itself in the body as well. Hildegard's medicine is not psychosomatic in the modern sense. It is cosmological. The body and the soul are not two things. They are two expressions of the same living being, and the vitality that animates both comes from the same source.
Now, the bridge. Because Hildegard was a 12th century Benedictine abbess working within a specific medieval Catholic cosmology, and most people watching this video are not, but here is what translates directly. The thinning, the specific quality of depleted vitality that is not catastrophic but is real, the mourning when the work that used to matter meets with flatness, the relationship that used to feel alive that now requires effort to inhabit, the creative practice that used to flow that now has to be managed, the dryness. Hildegard is not diagnosing this as a productivity problem or a lifestyle problem or even a psychological problem. She is asking a prior question: where does vitality come from? And she is answering from connection to the source. Whatever the source is for you, the natural world, the creative practice, the relationship with the divine, the genuine engagement with beauty, the vitality flows when the connection is open and thins when the connection has been narrowed by neglect, overwork, fear, or the accumulated weight of the managed life. The cure, in her understanding, is not self-improvement, it is return. The return to the specific, local, available practices that have historically opened the channel for you. The walk in the natural world, the creative act done for its own sake rather than its productivity, the moment of genuine prayer or meditation or philosophical inquiry, the beauty received with full attention,
the meal eaten with awareness of where it came from and what it is doing. These are not the soft supplements to the real work of the day. In Hildegard's cosmology, they are the most necessary work. They are the tending of the channel through which everything else becomes possible. Here is what Hildegard on Viriditas asks of you, practically, today. First, locate the dryness honestly. Where has the vitality thinned? Not in general, specifically. The area of your life where the greening force is most absent. The work that has become mechanical. The relationship maintained by effort rather than animated by genuine care. The creative practice deferred indefinitely. The body moving through its days without being genuinely inhabited. Name it without self-condemnation. Dryness is not a moral failure in Hildegard's understanding. It is a symptom. Something has interrupted the flow. The naming is the beginning of the diagnosis.
Second, find what opens the channel for you. Hildegard was specific about the things that carry Viriditas. Green, growing things. She prescribed time in gardens and with plants as medicine. Music, which we explored in the earlier episode, and which she understood as the most direct carrier of the greening force available to the human being. Creative work done from genuine joy rather than obligation. The natural world in its full sensory reality. Beauty received rather than managed. What has historically opened the channel for you? Not what should open it according to some framework. What actually has, in your own experience, restored the vitality when it had thinned? Identify it specifically and do it today. Not as a productivity hack, not as self-care in the shallow sense, but as the Hildegardian practice of tending the channel. Third, let the body be part of the spiritual practice. The Hildegardian integration of body and soul means that the tending of the body's vitality is not separate from the tending of the spirit's. The quality of the food, fresh, living, connected to the earth. The quality of the air, time outside in the natural world, away from the sealed environments that the modern life keeps us in. The quality of the sleep, the quality of the movement. These are not separate from the spiritual practice. They are its physical expression. Choose one thing today that tends the body's channel for Viriditas. Not the punishing kind of tending, the ambitious workout, the extreme diet. The Hildegardian kind. A walk outside with genuine attention to what is growing. A meal prepared with care from whole ingredients. An hour of genuine rest. The body treated not as an instrument to be optimized, but as a channel to be tended. Fourth, create something today, however small, from genuine desire rather than obligation. Viriditas for Hildegard is most vividly present in the creative act done from genuine ardor, from what she called a feather on the breath of God, the lightness and freedom of the soul that is moving in alignment with its source. The creative act done from duty, from obligation, from the need to produce, this may produce good work, but it does not feed the channel. The creative act done from genuine desire, genuine joy, genuine love of the thing being made, this is Viriditas in its most available human form. Find something today, small, brief, entirely available, that you create from genuine desire. The sketch, the paragraph, the garden, the meal, the arrangement of the desk, anything that is genuinely yours, genuinely wanted, genuinely made from the place in you that still has something to say. That place is the channel. The making is the greening. I want to close with the image that Hildegard herself returns to most often when she is trying to say what Viriditas is. The branch in winter. Bare, apparently dead, holding nothing but its own structure against the cold. And then, spring. The same branch, the same wood, and from within it, from within the apparent death, the greening emerging. Not added from outside, arising from within. The life that was always there, dormant but not absent, waiting for the conditions that would allow it to express itself again. She says, the soul is like this branch.
The dryness is not the soul's death, it is the soul's winter. The vitality that has thinned is not gone, it is waiting for the return to the source, for the tending of the channel, for the conditions that allow the greening to begin again. The branch does not force the spring, it endures the winter with the specific, patient, entirely unglamorous practice of remaining rooted in the ground that will eventually warm. And when the warmth comes, and in Hildegard's understanding, the warmth always comes because Viriditas is the nature of things and dryness is only ever a season, the greening returns from the inside, as it always has, as it always will. Your vitality is not absent, it is dormant. The practice is the tending. The tending is the return. The greening force is already in you. It has not gone anywhere. It is waiting for the conditions you are about to provide. Here is the question Hildegard on Viriditas leaves us with today. Where has the green gone? And what one thing, specific, available, genuinely yours, could you do today to begin the tending of the channel? Not the complete restoration, the first small act, the walk outside, the creative thing made from desire, the meal prepared with care, the moment of genuine beauty received with full attention. Leave that in the comments, because naming the thing that restores your vitality and committing to it today is the beginning of the practice that Hildegard built an entire philosophy around. The greening force is not something you produce, it is something you allow. The channel is your job. The vitality will do the rest. I'll see you in the next one.